Hello there, welcome to my channel. My name is Irene and today I am building the medieval Tudor home. Off the bat, I wanted to tell you the Tudor period and the Middle Ages weren't in the same time. The Tudor period was actually after the Middle Ages. So I don't know if there are really existing medieval Tudor homes, but I couldn't choose between the two. I really wanted to build a very big house with a little bit of a fantasy theme and a little bit of a medieval style, but I think it turned out to look like a Tudor home very much as well, so I called it the Medieval Tudor home. If you have a better name for it, please let me know. But I just couldn't come up with a better name for it right now. I actually got inspired to build this house because I read a lot of fantasy books. My boyfriend, or fiancé I should say, has a lot of fantasy series. For example, the one from Feist, it has, I think, 25 books, all for the same very long story. And it was amazing. I also read The Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones, and in all of these books, when the people in the books having a big adventure and having a long journey on their horses, and they arrive in a medieval village or a fantasy village, I always imagine how the houses would look like, and I really wanted to build a house in that style. I also thought about it to name the home the Tudor Gatehouse because I am building 2 gates under this house. Right now you already can see the first one I'm building. That one will be the one with water under it. I will also build a pond at the front and the back of the house and a waterfall in front of it, so I could also call it the Tudor Gatehouse, Waterfall Gatehouse. Oh well. And I also built another gate at the left that will be with a road under it. So I thought it would look like if you could ride your carriage under the house or on your horse, of course. I'm also planning in the second part of this build, because it's actually part 1. I also planning to build in part 2 stables at the back of the house for your horses. So this is part 1. In this part I'm building the exterior of the house and the landscaping and the waterfall and everything. And in part 2 I am building the interior. This build was actually that big and it took me so much time. So to put it all in one speed build, the video would be way too long. So I thought it would be way more fun to do it in 2 parts. Just a side note, I wanted to apologize for my English sometimes. This is actually my 4th or my 5th voiceover I've ever done. And I'm actually not that used to speaking English. I had English at high school and I hear a lot of English and I know a lot of words, but to make sentences that perfectly, it's a little bit difficult for me sometimes. But I think I'm learning already, and just give me some time. I assure you I will improve a lot. Over here I am building the pond, the water under the first gate. I'm such a big fan of the water in The Sims 4. I think it looks so good. It looks so realistic. I went with a very blue color this time. I think it looks very good because it's a very bright blue. I changed the pool trim in brown and I will put some brown terrain paint around it later. I think it looks way more natural when you do that. Over here I'm building in the stairs. It was actually a little bit difficult to build the stairs in because I had to raise the ground over here, as you could see, and I wanted to build 2 stairs and make them look like they were the same height. So it was a little bit of a struggle, but I think they turned out very good. Over here I am playing to make the gate. At first I'm using these wall decoration thingies, but I changed them up later. I think just where they're overlapping each other, it doesn't look that good. And I will cut out a little bit because I had a little bit of a struggle over there. And over here you can see the roof or the wall decorations I used. I'm putting in some wallpaper from the Get Together pack. I think it fits very good. It was a little bit time consuming to put in all the wallpapers because I wanted to make different shapes in the walls with the stripes down and the stripes up and all the different colors. So I had to place every panel one by one, but I think the result is there, so I didn't mind. I actually thought it was a lot of fun to make it because it looks very good. I think it looks way better with the different colored roof as I'm putting in later. I wanted to make this build very big and have all kind of different roofs and different small structures. So it looked very structured and very dynamic. Yes, that's the word. I'm sorry, struggling. And over here I'm building in the castle wall. I will change it up later. I kept it over the gate, but at the other side I will change it up. I raised the foundation of this house very, very high, so I could raise the terrain and make the waterfall in front of it. Sometimes I'm building a hill and after that I will put in the house on it. But this time I went with a different method and I think it worked very easy. I think it was way easier than putting in a hill and putting the house on it later. I thought I had way more control over the hills and the terrain tool as with the other methods. Over here I'm placing in the back of the gate and the back of the house. I will putting in a tower over here. You probably heard this a lot, but I wished we had spiral staircases. They would be so great in the tower, but well, we can always can dream. Maybe they will coming up later. I really hope so, because now it isn't actually a dead space because the house is very big. But sometimes when I'm building a tower in a build, the top floor is like a dead room and an empty room, and I think that's a shame because if I'm building a house, I want to make it very realistic and use every area I could use. Oh, the color of the roofs, I think it looks so good with the red and the brown in front of it. It looks so magical. I'm only bothering myself with the exterior in this board. I'm not even thinking about the floor plan. I think I have to change up a little bit in the part 2 because I don't know if the staircase is actually working right now. I think it's working, and otherwise we will put a door at the back of the house. Oh, I really liked these windows from the Get Together pack. I have to apologize for my cat. I heard her meowing. I don't know if you heard her. She's very sweet though. I talked about her in my previous video. Her name is Nala, named after Nala from the Lion King. Oh, she's actually coming on my lap now. I had her for years. And she eats so much when she's washing herself. She has to bend over and she cannot even reach her belly. But she is so cute. I wouldn't wanted to miss her in the world. Over here I'm placing in the doors and just trying out a couple of different colors. At the right corner you'll see I put in a little bit windows off camera Sometimes I have to think about what objects to use in my build, so I look them up off camera and I will put them at the right corner of my build, so the build would be a little bit faster and you haven't to see my thinking time. You just saw me place a couple of chimneys. I really wanted to have 2 of the round chimneys at the back of the house, but over here you can see I removed them and changed it. In this one, in the end, I think it looked a little bit better than the round ones. The round ones just looked a little bit awkward. Over here I'm playing with the gate over the water. I'm starting off with this wall decoration. There has to be the good word for it, but obviously I can't think of it now. I'm sorry. But the thing that I'm placing now, I went with this one. I think it looks so good. It looks a little bit fairy tale, a little bit magical. Yeah, and I like it over the water. Over there was a little bit of empty space, so put in a roof to fill up the diagonal wall, because you cannot place a diagonal wall, so I used the roof to make it. And I wanted to place some windows at the back of the house. I think the back of the house also looks very good with the 2 gates. I never built a house with gates under it before, and it was so much fun for me to build. I want to do that so much more. I think it's so much fun. I also really like these windows from the Get Together pack. Not that one, yeah, I also like this one, but the previous one, I used them on one of my previous videos. It was the Caribbean Pirates boathouse. Check it out if you want. I really like that build too. It's very funny that the windows fitted very good on a boat, but also fit very good on a house like this. I also really like the roof thingy I put on the tower at the left. I'm creating a pot over here because obviously you have to be able to reach the stairs, and some terrain paint in it to make the path. Over here I'm putting in some fences. I really wanted to put in some fences, so if you will go there you weren't able to fall in the water or in the waterfall that I'm placing in a couple of minutes. A couple of seconds, here we are already. I'm using the fountains to place the waterfall. It's very repetitive, but it looks very good. I will cut it because it's very boring to watch. But this is the result. I think I could even use a little bit more. No, there are a lot of fountains over there. But I really like to create waterfalls with the fountains. And I will place the dome fountains at the end of the waterfall, so it looked like drops and splashes in water under it. I wanted to put in some greens under the waterfall, but I couldn't really find plants that were fitting under the water. Over here I'm making a little bit more of a pond, so it looks a little bit more realistic, and a lot of stones at the roof trims. I will cut this part too. If you want me to next time to leave it all in, please let me know, but I think it looks just a little bit dull because it's so repetitive. It's the same thing I'm doing over and over again, so I just cut it. But if you wanted to see it, please let me know. I will leave it in the next time. Just some more terrain paint and a little bit more of the wall decorations. I really like these things. They fit the build very good. Also the gray one under the tower. And yeah, I think I really like this already, and I have to put all the grease in because there's a lot of ivy in this house. I actually just found out, I'm learning something every day about The Sims now, I'm feeling. That if you're placing objects and you're holding in the shift key, it actually duplicates the object. So you can place a lot of objects after each other. of the same of the objects after each other. So you could create the ivy on the walls way easier. And yeah, I really used it on this one. I went all the way with it. But I thought it really fitted to build, and I built a lot of different houses, a lot of modern houses too, and because it was really fitting for a medieval or a fantasy theme, I really wanted to go with it. I'm changing up the wall patterns a little bit more. I think the ivy looks very good over the red wall patterns. I'm also using this as some green decoration. I think it gives the build gives the green a little bit more depth, and it looks a little bit more natural. But as you can see here, I put in a lot. I'm really using the shift key. The same for the plants around the water. I put in a lot of plants on the ground too, but I think it looks so good. I'm actually using this particular plant a lot in all of my builds, and the fern too. Not in all of them, but in a lot of them. The fern is very, very easy because it covers up a lot of the ground at once. I also really like the water plants I'm putting in and the big green plants. And yeah, I think the water is really coming together. I told you before I was a little bit in doubt if I was using the right watercolor, but I think it looks good. When I used a little bit more brown color or the darker colors, the reflection wasn't that good, and I especially like the reflection in the water of the Sims, so I went with this color. I actually tried out some pillars, but because there was all wood stripes on the wallpaper already, I think the pillars didn't add anything. And more ivy, why not? Just put the whole tower full of ivy. In part 2, as I told you, I will doing the interior. If there is some ivy showing at the inside of the house, obviously I will fix it up so it looks very neat on the inside of the house too. I really wanted to make this build as perfect as I could. The same for the water at the back of the house. Over here I just kept the whole stone building roof of pool trim covering thing in the video, so you can see how I'm doing that, and putting a lot of greens to cover all the stones up. I'm trying to fit in the wishing well a couple of minutes later, but because I used the terrain tool and lifted the terrain up that much, the wishing well actually didn't fit at the ground very good, so I will delete it a little bit later. Just more greens at the front of the house. This build really learned me how to decorate a house at the outside. I think with all the greens it looks so good. Sometimes less is more, but over here I think just more looks so good. And more ivy. I think I'm saying more ivy a lot in this video. But well, it's true, there is a lot of ivy. Or I really like this flowers from a romantic garden. I actually went with white flowers and green plants and all white tones. And I will put in very small red flowers later. I just wanted to give it a little pop of red color, but I wouldn't want it to go very pink and with all kinds of different colors in the flowers, because there are a lot of plants. I was planning to use just the white ones because it looks a little bit more calmer. And this amazing willow tree, it's so big, so in a lot of my builds I want to put in the willow tree because I like it so much, but the house isn't just big enough for the tree most of the times because the tree is so big. And I think when you size the tree down, it doesn't look as good anymore. Over here you can see me trying to put the wishing well in, but yeah, I will remove it, so I got it. But the willow tree, yeah, I think for this build, because the build is so tall, it's 4 stories high, I think the very big willow fits very good. Over here, more stones. Oh, if I counted all the stones in this whole build. I'm very curious how much I used. The same for the ivy, of course. But yeah, I think I created a little bit more of a natural path over there. And I think we're almost at the end of the build. Later on I will putting a little bit more trees in. Oh yeah, the lights over here. I think they really made the build. I think it looked way more finished with the lights, especially at the gate at the back. And a little bit more lights over here from the outdoor retreat pack. I think the lights from outdoor retreat pack are my favorite items from pack. I really liked it. I think it looks so good. And the trees. And well, that was it. We're almost at these screenshots. I really hope you liked this build. In a couple of days, the part 2 will be uploaded, the interior part. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it will be so much fun. I'm planning to go with a medieval theme, with a Tudor theme, the same as the outside of the build, of course. I really wanted to fit the interior in the build. So that would be so much fun. If you wanted to keep up with me and all the other builds I have in store for you, please subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. The same for tips or comments or requests from me. Please let me know. I really hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you're having an amazing day. And I will talk to you next time. Goodbye.